Hello students, welcome to the World of Biology through Jaguar classes. In today's class, I will start a new unit, Unit 10, Ecology and Environment. In this unit, there are 4 chapters. Chapter 13, Organism and Population, that we are starting today. Chapter 14, Ecosystem. Chapter 15, Biodiversity and its conservation. And Chapter 16, Environmental issues. In today's class, I will start with the first part of the chapter 13, Organism and Populations, in which today I will focus on ecology and ecosystem, a basic concept of components of ecosystem that we will take in today's class, levels of organization, specifically ecological organization, organisms and environment, habitat and their niche. We will also talk about major abiotic factors as temperature, water, light, soil and responses of the organism towards these abiotic factors. After today's class, the basic learning outcomes, which are knowledge based, in which you will be able to understand or you will be define ecology, ecosystem, habitat and niche. You will be able to list out various levels of organization at higher level, that means ecological organization. You will be able to explain and describe major abiotic factors and response of organism to these abiotic factors. Skill based learning outcomes that you will learn after today's class. Comprehension skills you can use to relate various examples of organismic responses towards the abiotic factors in the environment, and analytical skills you can use to answer various hot questions related with our environment and relationship of organisms with each other and the environment. Now, today's class we will start with the quote that, "Dear Mother Nature, we are nothing without you. You gave us so much without any demand, but now we have to do something for you." Class, I want to share with you some facts related with our nature. As you know that our living world is fascinating, diverse and amazingly complex. We can try to understand its complexity by investigating processes at various levels of biological organization, at macro molecules level, cellular level, tissue level, organ level, and individual organisms, population, communities, ecosystem, and biomes. At any level of biological organization, we can ask two types of questions. For example, when we hear the bulbul singing early morning in the garden, we may ask, how does the bird sing? Or why does the bird sing? The how type of questions seek the mechanism behind the process, while the why type questions seek the significance of the process. For the first question in our example, the answer might be in terms of the operation of the voice box and the vibrating bone in the bird. Whereas for the second question, the answer may be lie in the bird's need to communicate with its mate during breeding season. When you observe nature around you with a scientific frame of mind, you will certainly come up with many interesting questions of both types. Why are night blooming flowers generally white? How does the bee know which flower has nectar? Why does cactus have so many thorns? And how does the thick spurs recognize her own mother? And so on. In that way, we can say that you have already learned in various classes that ecology is a subject which studies the interaction among organism and between the organism and its physical or abiotic environment. Now we will start with our today's presentation, which is based on organism and its environment, and we will learn these facts through today's class. In our today's class, we will cover the topics like that: introduction to organism and population, habitat, microhabitat, ecological niche and levels of biological organization, ecological factors, biotic and abiotic, and major abiotic factors and their responses of organism towards these factors. And we will also learn about a little bit about the populations. Now, we will start with the definition or the meaning of the term ecology. Ecology is the study of interactions of organisms with one another and with their abiotic environment. A group of organisms of the same species form a population. Now, in this image, you can see that how these levels of organization at higher level forms. Organism together makes populations, population together makes community, and community together form ecosystem, and different ecosystems on this biosphere forms a biome. That means these are the higher level of organizations: organism to population, population to community, and community to ecosystem, and ecosystem to biome. And in this chapter we will focus on these higher level of organization. Now here are the key elements, which are the abiotic habitat variations, and these four abiotic factors: light, temperature, water and soil are coming in this category. Interaction of organisms with abiotic components, of which the most important ones are temperature, water, light and soil, and all these together with the organisms form an ecosystem. Means we can say that ecosystem is the relationship between organisms and their environment. Now here we will learn key elements. Biotic habitat variation means biotic component of the ecosystem. Organisms interact among themselves in an ecosystem. Biotic components such as pathogens, parasites, predators and competitors are coming in this category of biotic habitat or biotic component of the ecosystem. Like here you can see that in this image, parasites, predators, competitors and pathogens are shown here in the key element. Now, here we will see that habitat, microhabitat and ecological niche. How can these words be defined? Habitat, a species or a specific physical place or locality occupied by an organism, population or community. And microhabitat are the subdivisions of a habitat having different environmental conditions and different types of organism. And ecological niche is basically the, we can say that, boundary, ecological boundary or an organism's place in the biotic environment where it is living. Now here you can see that levels of biological organization that we have that we can study in three categories: molecular level. In earlier classes, in class 9th as well as in class 11th, you have learned about the cell and that molecular level, or we can say that the in biological world the basic level of organization is the cell, and at molecular level we are talking about the different types of biomolecules present inside the cell. Then individual level where we are talking about the organisms, and inside the organism we are talking about the organ, tissue, system, and um, organism. And in higher level, as we have just now discussed, we are talking about organism, populations, community, biosphere, or biomes. Now here you can understand with the help of this table or this slide easily how these three levels of organizations or three different categories of level of organization can be defined as or can be differentiated. As we know that biological organization is the arrangement of smaller components of any structure into large ones or larger ones in a hierarchical or pyramidal shape, in which the components of each level coordinate with each other for carrying out a common function. Now you can see that in molecular level of organization we are studying about the atoms, molecules, inorganic compounds, then simple organic compounds, and then complex organic compounds to protoplasm. This is the hierarchy of the different levels at molecular level of organization. And here in this chart you can see that individual level of organization, where cell is the basic level and at individual level, and then cell together makes tissues, tissues together makes organs, and organ together functions or make the organ system to make an organism, and in that way the whole organism uh, performs the various functions in this living world. Now, at higher level of organization that we are studying in this unit, organisms, populations. Population forms the species, and species comes under the biotic community. Biotic community forms the ecosystem, and different ecosystems together makes the biome, and the different biomes are actually making our biosphere. With that, I think you will be able to clear about the higher level of organization and another level of organizations that we have studied in earlier classes. Now, here we will see that major abiotic factors which are affecting the that different we can say that habits of the uh, different organism in their habitat. Here is the first abiotic factor that we are talking about, temperature. Many organisms are eurythermal, that is that means they can withstand in a wide range of temperature differences, unlike the stenothermal organisms which can exist in a small range of temperature variation. Or easily in easy terms you can say that eury means wide range and steno means narrow range of tolerance. Now eurythermal, here are the examples of eurythermal or those organisms which can live in wide range of temperature variation. Here are three examples given as Cyprinus scarpio, a type of fish, and Cattleya species of a plant, and Panthera tigris, that is tiger. And stenothermal category, the fish salmonids and python regius and crocodylus niloticus are coming in this stenothermal examples. These are the examples of some of the eurythermal and stenothermal animals in the environment, in the nature. Now, major abiotic in the another category of major abiotic factor, water with pH and salinity. Again here we are using the word uri. Haline means salinity. Uri-haline organisms are those organisms which can exist in a wide range of salinity variation. Wherever this word uri comes, that means wide range of a particular abiotic factor variation. And stenohaline organisms can exist in a small range of salinity variation. Again here shown two examples, one of euryhaline organism, Poecilia latipina fish, and stenohaline Carassicus aquaritus is that type of fish which is coming in this category of stenohalite. Now the third abiotic factor is soil, and characteristic features such as soil composition, grain size, percolation and water holding capacity of soil influences the vegetation of the area and the animal life that it can support. And fourth abiotic factor is light. Plants use sunlight to power photosynthesis, and many plants depend on light for flowering and fruiting. In this way, the sunlight affects the overall production in an ecosystem by the producers. Now here in this slide you can see that how the different organisms show the responses towards the various abiotic factors. Here the term homeostasis you have to understand, and it is basically the ability or phenomenon of living organism to maintain a steady state or constant temperature and osmolarity. Human body, for example, human body maintains blood pH within the every narrow range 7.35 to 7.45. Mammals and birds maintain constant body temperature. Mammals regulate their blood glucose with insulin and glucogen, and these are the various, we can say, the responses to maintain the homeostasis so that the organisms can tolerate or can adjust with their changing environmental conditions. On the basis of responses of organism to various abiotic factors, we can understand the organism in two categories: conformers and regulators. As we have discussed in earlier slide, the humans are regulators, and here we are talking about the conformers, which are the animals and plants that cannot maintain constant body temperature are called conformers. The process in which organisms temporarily move from stressful habitats to favorable areas is called migration, or we can say that every time some of the animals can up to a certain extent can regulate, but after that to outcome from that situation they are uh, living that particular habitat and moving towards the other habitat for that temporarily for a temporary time period, which is known as migration. In this category of response, we can say that one another type of response, like organisms that are metabolically active during stressful periods, suspend all activity and enter a period of dormancy. For example, hibernation during winter, and some organisms or some animals doing estivation during summer. Or estivation, we can say that long summer sleep, and hibernation means long winter sleep. For now, in the quick recap, you can again revise the facts that we have studied in this presentation. Here are the main points that we have covered up in this topic: ecology, study of the interactions of organism with one another and the environment is known as ecology, and levels of biological organization also we have studied, in which we have studied molecular level of organization, individual level of organization, and higher level of organization. Besides that, we have also studied about the abiotic factors: temperature, water, soil, light, and organismic response towards these abiotic factors in the nature. Now you can cover up this assignment also after this presentation. Responses of organism to abiotic factors. Give two examples to explain how mammals maintain constant temperature and osmolarity by the homeostasis, and give two examples to show how hibernation and migration of animals are facilitated by abiotic factors. Now try to complete this writing assignment based on this presentation. And now come to learn about all these with the help of this presentation to clear your facts or to more clear about these facts.
Organisms and populations. A brick made of clay is baked in a kiln. The bricks are placed together to build a wall. Walls together make a room, and rooms together make a home. Similarly, various stages of organizations exist in the living world. Atoms combine to form molecules. Molecules form inorganic and organic compounds. Complex organic compounds combine to form the protoplasm, the living contents of a cell. The protoplasm makes the building blocks of life, the cells. Cells organize to form tissues. Tissues work together to make the organs, and the organs go on to make the organ systems. And all the organ systems make up an individual organism. At the higher level, the organisms that belong to the same species form a population. Different populations interact to form a biological community. The communities, along with the abiotic factors, make up the biomes, which ultimately form the biosphere. In the hierarchy of organization, it is only at the ecosystem level that the system becomes self-sustaining. This is because an ecosystem is formed by the interaction between biotic and abiotic factors. Air, water, soil, light, temperature, clouds, humidity, salinity, pH are some of the abiotic factors that play a major role in the structure of an ecosystem. Habitat is the place where an organism dwells. For example, oceans, ponds, deserts, forest, and other such areas. Niche is defined as the position or function of an organism in a habitat. For example, all these birds live in the same habitat, but their feeding habits, their behavior, and their roles differ. If the same organisms are living in the same habitat and similar niches, they may compete for food and shelter. To avoid such competitions, organisms adopt and exhibit different behaviors. Some are nocturnal, while some are diurnal. Some tend to migrate for food, shelter, and breeding during unfavorable conditions. Abiotic factors play an important role in the environment. Some of the important abiotic factors are temperature, water, light, and soil. Click a tab to learn more.
Now let's start with the temperature.
Temperature plays a key role in plant and animal metabolism. Enzymes are usually inactive at lower temperatures and optimal at certain temperatures, beyond which they denature. In winter annual plants, flowering and seed germination is triggered by exposure to cold. This is known as vernalization. Some animals maintain their body temperature irrespective of their environmental temperature. They are called warm-blooded. Some conform their body temperature in accordance with the fluctuations in their environmental temperature. They are called cold-blooded. Many animals tend to migrate, while many others suspend their activities in unfavorable conditions.
Now come to know about the influence of water as
Water is an important factor for all living things. The distribution of animals and plants varies with the availability of water. Animals have various adaptive mechanisms to regulate the loss of water. A body covering, such as fur, feathers, and scales, limits water loss. Animals have evolved effective osmoregulatory mechanisms to maintain water and salt concentrations in their body. Camels have oval-shaped red blood cells. The shape allows the camel's RBCs to move in thick blood. These cells can also be expanded to absorb a large amount of water.
And now you can see how does light.
Light is essential for all ecosystems, as it is essential for photosynthesis. The intensity of light also affects the activity of living things, such as growth, development, reproduction, and egg-laying capacity in an ecosystem. Based on the length of the dark period after which a plant flowers, plants are classified into short-day plants, day-neutral plants, and long-day plants.
And how does soil?
Soil texture, soil air, soil pH, soil temperature, and soil solution all affect plant and animal populations. Soils are classified based on their texture. Sandy soil can support the growth of adapted plants such as cactus. Loamy soil is best suited for gardening. Clayey soil is used for pottery and growing some crops. Air trapped between soil particles support the growth of plant roots and small soil animals. The pore sizes also determine the firmness of the soil. Soil temperature is almost constant, below a depth of 30 cm during daytime. Fluctuations may happen due to seasonal differences. Soil pH affects the activity of living things on the soil and the availability of some minerals. The pH influences the growth and development of plants. Soil solution refers to the decaying matter in the soil that increases the soil fertility.
Now
Most mammals drink more
here
water
is a
during
quiz
summer.
for you.
Which of the following strategies are they following?
What
Click the correct option. Then click Submit.
Now what will be your answer? You can see your answer should
Drinking
be
more water compensates the water loss through sweat. This regulates their body water composition.
That means the correct answer for this question is regulate by the process of drinking water.
Salmon is a migratory fish that spends a part of its life cycle in both fresh water and in a marine environment. Which of the following should the salmon do to survive in the marine environment? Click the correct option. Then click Submit.
Yes, your answer will be
In a marine environment, a lot of water will be lost. To compensate, the fish has to drink a lot of water and eliminate excess salts through the gills and via concentrated urine.
that means by drinking a lot of water, they are adjusting with that marine environment. Now come to the next question.
Tilling is an important activity before sowing seeds. How does it help plant growth? Click the correct option. Then click Submit.
Yes, the correct answer is
Tilling loosens the soil and provides enough aeration. However, this does not have any impact on the fertility or the temperature or the water holding capacity of the soil.
now.
Two sets of tomato plants are exposed to alternate dark and light periods. Set A is exposed to longer light periods, while set B to longer dark periods. Which of them will flower? Click the correct option. Then click Submit.
Yes, the answer is
Tomatoes are day neutral plants. They flower only upon vegetative maturity and not based on photoperiods.
now I think it is clear.
Here's a recap of the major abiotic factors of an ecosystem.
Water. Organisms develop adaptation to availability and scarcity of water. Soil. Soil texture, pH, soil air, and soil solution determine type of plants and organism living in the soil. Temperature affects enzyme activity, physiological processes like flowering, germination, etc. And light affects photosynthetic rate or productivity and also physiological processes, flowering, germination, etc. In that way, you have studied in today's class how the major abiotic factors of an ecosystem affects the different organism in the nature. In next class, we will talk about the adaptations of the animals and plants towards their environment, as well as we will talk about the population attributes. With that, we have finished our today's class, and now we will end up our class here. Have a nice day and thank you.